All right, well, everybody, I'm super excited. Today we got Mark and Tim of the Mark and Tim team joining us today, and we're going to be talking about a lot of things like the Grey Bruce Owen Sound area, what's going on in the market there. Coolest, biggest thing I want to talk about though is the flipped Grey Bruce project. So their office has actually purchased a home that they're flipping, and all the profits from the sale of the property is going to go to local charities. And I think that's just an awesome idea altogether. Good way to get the community involved. And so we're going to have a great time talking about that.
My name is Cody Kraus, and I'm a real estate broker owner that's obsessed with everything real estate. Investing, building, selling, developing, farming, you name it. I've been doing this since I was 18 years old, and I've learned a ton through trial and error, and I've met some of the coolest people ever. This is a show where I invite these people on to talk about their experiences and mine, plus everything else real estate. Let's go.
Okay, well, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Everything Real Estate Show. And today I have two guests on the show with me, Mark and Tim, and they are the Mark and Tim team. And anyways, they come from the Grey Bruce Owen Sound area, and there was Century 21 in Studio Realty up that way. And you know what? I'll turn it over to you guys. Who is Mark and Tim, or who are Mark and Tim?
Good question.
Oh,
Very existential.
we're just a couple of average guys up in the snow capital of Ontario, up in Owen Sound. Mark and I both got into real estate about 5 years ago. We both traded out of the same office. Then we decided to join up together as a team. Probably, what'd you say, 3 years ago now, Mark?
2020.
Yeah, we were kind of maybe competing with each other in the same office, so we just figured we would pull together our resources and put it all together, and it's been pretty good so far.
Well, I'm no mathematician, but that makes it 5 years, not three.
We started 2018. Tim gets shorter and shorter every
Yeah,
time he asks. So I think we got together at the end of 2020. So it was more like 2021. But we were licensed in 2018.
Okay,
And
cool. And so you said snow capital of Ontario. What's it like up there right now?
well,
I believe I saw somewhere saying, well, right now we got about 5.5 feet of snow everywhere. Roof damages, collapsing barns, that type of thing. But I think we had about 4 feet of snowfall by mid-January. So with Lake Huron and Georgian Bay, you get the lake effect coming in, and it just dumps on us. And this year has been one of the worst in a while.
Kidding. That's a lot of snow. Okay, and so how's your guys' market up there? What's going on in the market right now? It's covered in snow, obviously, but otherwise, are people still buying, selling, moving homes?
uh, a little bit. It is slow, and just one sec, Cody. I'll show you. Like that's that's one of our. Can you see the top of the
Oh,
sign?
the
That's
sun.
the off-ramp from the highway. Holy cow.
Yeah,
No,
no,
I
this
can barely see it to answer your question.
yeah,
It's
like
the lawn sign.
you know there's something there and it's for sale, but like that's how much snow we've had, and we've never had to I've never had to shovel my roof off before. Think about it, and we've been doing it all week,
That's crazy.
shove all summer shoveling snow. But no, the market it's a little cooler for sure. Whether or not it's the winter has is keeping people from buying. Sales are certainly a little slower than they were the last 2 years. This January in Grey County we had 61 sales. Just looking now, last January there was 74, 2023 there was 79, and in 2022 there was 133. So whether or not it's the volatility of the economy in the US or the combination of the weather, I'm not really sure, but the January was slower than what we've seen in the past. And it
Okay.
still kind of remains a little bit slower into February as well. We feel that for sure.
Now, just on that note, kind of talking before the show too, Mark kind of said, you know what, there's a thing about our location where like we're close to the GTA, but we're not like an extension of the GTA that people would, typically move to, except for the huge influx during COVID. Do you want to talk to that a little bit?
Yeah, it feels we're about 2 hours, 2.5 hours from London, Guelph, and Toronto. You can be in Toronto, you can be at Pearson in about 2 hours and 20 minutes. But it is a world apart. I think once you go past a certain point, it feels different. The economy is different, the people are different, and it's a slower pace. But we do get a lot of people who have roots here, who may have lived here when they were younger, who are now choosing to retire here or start a life like they can't afford housing in, Kitchener, Waterloo, or especially GTA. So, they're moving up here for we are more affordable than a lot of markets south, and but still has, we're the capital city of Grey County. We have college, hospital, it's a full infrastructure, and the lifestyle qualities up here are second to none. We're never more than 20 minutes away from a beach, from the shore. There's tons of outdoor adventures to have, and yeah, so we saw a lot of people through COVID just getting away from the city, from open spaces, and buying properties, and it really drove the pricing up quite a bit. We had a real sharp parabolic curve there where it went up and then it came down quite a bit, quite a bit, pretty sharply afterwards as well too.
You got a lot of waterfront, probably some hobby farms, cottages, people that come from out of the area maybe for the summer, that kind of stuff. In addition to the people that obviously live in the city, like you're saying, we got hospitals, we got schools, we got everything you need to live here year round, but you probably see some summer influx also.
Yeah, like some places like Southampton, for example, I think it doubles or triples their population through the summer because a lot of people come up for the entire summer to live at the lake.
Okay.
Sable Beach is a good example. I think the population is maybe 3,000 people, but on a long weekend, they'll get, 40,000 over a
Awesome.
long weekend. It's gets pretty crazy.
Cool. And so you said that the prices really spiked and then they've come down and they've probably been on a slow trajectory upward a little bit since then, if I had to guess, kind of like our area.
Yeah, so 2022 we peaked around maybe eight. I'm looking at it right now for a single family detached was 839. This is for all of Grey County. It's not just Owen Sound. And Grey County also includes Blue Mountain, which I think sort of dilutes our prices a little bit because in terms of makes them higher than what they actually would be. Like if you stripped out Blue Mountain, it would probably be a little bit less, and the Meaford area.
Sure.
But anyways, 839 in 2022, and now it's sitting at 717. Um, you know, 740. So they've went down a little bit, and then it's been pretty much trading flat for probably like the last year and a half, like just minimal, maybe zero point zero 0.05 increase, decrease. So I think it's sort of stabilized a little bit. Where it's going to go this year, we'll see.
Awesome. And so that 740,000-ish, mid
Yeah,
700s, what does that get you in your market?
it depends where. Like right in Owen Sound, like the city itself here, you could get a detached house. I would say maybe 1,500 square feet for 500,000, 450 to 500,000. It would probably be like a century home in that price range or a smaller bungalow. If you want something that's, newer, like if you want brand new, you're probably looking at, what would you say, Mark? Like it depends on how fancy it is, but 800 to a million would be
Yeah,
probably brand new. Two-car garage, finished, the whole thing. Semi detached around 4 to 450 again, depending on how nice they are.
Sure.
But
Well,
and
you
then
know
as you
what?
go
Sorry, go ahead.
outside of the city, like depending on where it gets a little more expensive or cheaper. If you go up closer to Topomore, it gets a little cheaper.
So it sounds like our markets are very similar as to how much money gets you what you can get into. The difference
Mhm.
is you guys are covered in snow and we're not. However, you probably have a prettier landscape too. You guys got some elevation change, all that fun stuff up there.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we do. I mean, you're close to, obviously, we're about 20 minutes from Sable Beach, about 45 minutes from Blue Mountains, Collingwood area. Then you're close to me for Tobermory, the Fathom 5 parks. There's some really nice, the grotto, really nice scenery around here. And obviously, like the beaches, like within 10, 15 minutes, you can get to a beach. So I don't know what it's
Awesome.
like where you are, but yeah.
Yeah, surrounded by water, but flat.
Oh, yeah. Flat.
And
Okay.
it's south. We don't get a ton of snow here, but it's flat. But yeah, we're close to water. We're a peninsula here, so
Okay. Nice.
lots of farmland down there, right?
tons of farmland.
Lots
Yeah,
of
I think
farmland,
you
yeah.
guys probably have a little bit more rock than us, but we got lots of flat farmland.
Hmm.
So who are the employers in your area? Who's moving to the area? Who's moving away from the area? Like, who are the demographics that are transacting in your market right now?
The first part of that question, who was it cut off
Oh,
there, but was
sorry.
it?
Who are the employers? Like, what's your industry
Oh,
there?
okay. I would say so. Bruce Nuclear Power is probably one of the largest. Thousands of people there every day.
Yeah.
from contract to casual to full time. Very high paying jobs too, so it really elevates the workforce uh, baseline there. So Bruce Power brings people in from an hour away just to work their shifts. So that's a big one. We have a lot of
Yeah.
healthcare jobs, education, county administration. Blue
Yeah.
Mountain has a certain amount, very heavy on the tourism side. We have some larger Chapman's ice cream factory is about half an hour south of us, so that's a big employer in the area.
Yeah.
Owen Sound itself has seen a lot of the industry move away from here. Like they took the rail lines out sometime, what was it, Tim, in the 80s or something? And that kind of really slowed down. It used to be an industrial powerhouse. They were made everything from ships. It was shipbuilding yards, and I think they made our CATVs. They made everything up here. But that trends, that kind of fell off, and you're starting to see a lot of the big industry closing down over the last, say, decade. But it's
Yeah.
transitioning to a entrepreneurial, self-employed, the work from home movement is big. People can live where they would normally vacation with a good internet connection. So we're
Yeah.
seeing a lot of that too.
Yeah, we sold
Cool.
quite a few houses to people moving up from city who are here now that still work for their employer, but they work from home. Right. So that's a popular thing for this area.
Yeah, and I think a lot of employers like they want to see their people back, but some of them they're just like, you know what? The overhead and keeping the location, we're going to be okay keeping them remote as long as we still get good productivity. I think
Yeah.
there's some industries where you got to be back in the office, but there's others. I mean, it's 2025 now. They probably started working remote 4 years ago. If they're still doing it, then they're all right. Even if they got to go to the office once a week or once every 2 weeks or something like that. Cool.
Hmm. Hmm.
Now you guys are tackling a pretty crazy project inside the office. Do you want to talk to us a little bit about what Flipped is and what exactly you guys are doing?
Yeah. So really cool project. I think it's really cool for the real estate industry as I think it actually shines a pretty positive light on, what you can do if you put your energy towards something fairly positive. But he's not on the call today, but our broker owner of the local Central 21 where we are now, Mike Sealer, pitched an idea a couple months ago about buying a house, flipping it, and then donating the profit to charities. And the whole idea would be, obviously get the house, but then involve local trades, local people to help with the work. Um, and then in exchange for some advertising, we're really big on video and camera and doing really quality stuff up here that's very promotional and marketing. So, where people are coming in, we're putting out, there's probably going to be like 8 YouTube videos that are going to probably show everything, the good, the bad, people doing work, the fun of it. Sort of like maybe like an HGTV series, but not quite like an HGTV series. It'd be a little more community orientated. So that was the whole appeal to it, was to get a house and then flip it and then donate the profit to charity. Now, most people obviously flip houses and keep the profit, but the whole idea was to inspire local people to join us and to give back to them with advertising and promotional, and hopefully we'll be able to make some good money off the house and give it all back to charity.
Awesome.
So Mark actually was the one that it was a bit challenging because it's not a great environment to flip a house in. You got to find something right. We found a place in December. The market's a little slower. Mark actually sent the house to the boss. He says this is the one, and we were able to, you got it pretty quickly. I think they closed on the place in January, so we've been there demoing it. There's been one local contractor. I'll give him a shout out. His name is Ken Phillip Climate Care. They were in. They put a whole new furnace, heat system in, new HVAC through the whole house. So far, donated that. So we're just kind of getting started. There's lots of different challenges from how to handle the electrical, the plumbing. We're getting permits for everything. Obviously, the town, the planners are on board. Lots of different charities are excited about it. Lots of different communities and trades are excited about it. So not really sure what the outcome will be, but so far it's been really exciting to see.
That's neat. I mean, right away my head goes to like flipping a home isn't an easy task in a really, really strong market. You guys are in a little
Mhm.
bit of a slower market right now, covered in 5.5 feet of snow. So not only is it like tough to get to the house and do the work because of all the snow in the way, but also like, okay, the intent is for it to make money. In the event that it doesn't make money, someone still had to take the risk, and it's not like you can take the money from the charity to cover your
Yeah.
shortfall, right? So like obviously you guys must have crunched your numbers on this one like crazy. You're experts, you know the market. And so you're gonna, get as much in-kind work from the trades that you're cooperating with and all that kind of stuff for materials, for labor. But at the end of the day, it's still not an easy task. Um, so obviously there's a strong desire to make a statement here to do something really cool. Do you want to maybe speak to who the charities that are going to benefit from it are? Like that's obviously got to be a part of the passion here too. If all you guys at Century 21 in the studio are willing to take that kind of a risk. Because again, there's no guarantee that it's going to make money. It sounds great, but it's a
Mhm.
lot of work and you guys aren't paying yourselves for it. And a huge, huge risk where you're tying up, hundreds of thousands of dollars for a period of time too.
Yeah, huge risk. And we sort of crowdfunded a little bit within the brokerage. And um, I think the house that we got is pretty solid overall. You obviously want to pick the right house, but it's got like really good potential. And in terms of yeah, there's always obviously a downside. I think that'll be relatively, I think we'll be okay. I really do, unless there's some crazy stuff that happens with the market. But in terms of the local charities, it's still sort of in the works, but it's all going to be local. Um, Depending on how much we actually make, it'll be spread it a little bit. But um, there's a few different one of them is Reach, which is a local company that supports special needs individuals, and obviously like the local food bank and Salvation Army, I think will be top of the list as well. The local CMHC, um, the Mental Health Association there, and I don't know, Mark, was there any other ones that you could speak to? And nothing's firm yet, but those are
Yeah,
some
I
of
didn't.
the.
I wasn't sure of who was in the mix right now, but there is a strong push and a strong movement here to keep things local because we are somewhat, in an isolated area, right? So there's a pride of where you come from and being from here, and helping your people out, right? It's like we all live and work together, and a lot of business people are involved in the volunteer side of these organizations as well too, because they have a vested interest maybe in elevating the quality of life for everybody, right? So there's a big push for supporting local businesses, farms, trades, and so this is it goes hand in hand with the charity as well too, to keep any profits here helping people in our backyard.
Love it. And your clients got to be pretty pumped about it. I would imagine you guys are getting a lot of questions on your showings and your listing presentations right now.
Yeah. And it's a cool thing too, the actual seller of the property, once we kind of told her what we're thinking of, absolutely loves it and is super on board with it. So she's going to be involved with the unveiling and, the big launch party. We're planning like a big kind of open house on a long weekend, inviting everybody in and just the giving back, like with the tradespeople that are helping, sometimes they're really good, like they're really good at their craft, but maybe not so much at promotion. So that was kind of our give back to them, was to say, well, we'll produce some high quality video here for you, and here's the file, use it on your socials, get yourself out there, and we'll do everything we can to kind of help promote them as well too, for some visibility. So so far it's just been going,
Yeah,
I think,
great,
really
great,
really well. Yeah,
great response. Like
very
there's
optimistic.
right off the bat, there was a few local painting companies that jumped in and said they'd donate all the paint. You have, and a couple other building supply companies that are donating some supplies. And obviously there's the big list of trades that want to help out. And they're going to be spotlighted in forms of advertising and being involved. If you drive by right now, it's actually pretty cool. It's on the way to Salvo Beach. If you drive by, you'll see a big billboard in front. It says Flipped Grey Bruce, and it's got sort of the values of the whole project on the sign. And then one of the contractors has stapled his sign to the bottom of the sign, Ken Phillip Climate Care, whatever. And, by the time the whole thing is done, like that whole sign is going to be just plastered with
People that
different
helped.
local, and it's going to be a pretty cool little piece. And then, Mike, Mike has some pretty cool ideas for sort of the renovations that he wants to do are going to be um, I don't know what the right word is, Mark, but thoughtful and sort of unique throughout the whole house. It'll be
A lot of
anything.
value adds too. I
Thank
think
you, better.
things that maybe you wouldn't normally get in a house of that level if we weren't able to kind of capitalize on the generosity of the suppliers. Feature walls, LED lighting, recessed lighting, maybe some higher end home automation finishes. There's lots of ideas we're kind of working on. But it's your
Cool.
classic three bed bungalow, 2 car garage on an acre, outside of town. Like it's very desirable,
No
and it'll make a
kidding.
nice family home for the people who sold it were the original owners for what, 35 years, I think,
I
Tim,
think so, yeah, and
as
it
they
was
built it.
still,
So when I was looking at the pictures, it was like gold carpet, green wallpaper. I'm like, oh, there's the one.
That's
yeah,
awesome.
like yeah, it was actually pretty cool. We had all the realtors out one day to sort of start demoing the place, and so you can kind of see it. You can probably find that online, the little video we did there, and in the process, down in the basement, Mark found a few Sears catalogs from like 1980s, like untouched.
Yeah,
And
Hilarious.
you're
like
flipping through those, you're like, man,
yeah.
this my childhood. Like it's got all the old school blind and shutters, like I don't know, Nintendo NES systems in there, whatever.
The bathroom sets with like the fuzzy toilet covers and the carpeting, like all
Yeah.
matching rose
Yeah,
pink.
it was
Pink,
all in the house
green,
too.
blue. Love it.
Yeah.
Well, and it just sounds like a good win-win-win. So the sellers are on board. They're not upset that, their family homestead of many decades is getting flipped. They're like, oh, it's going to benefit local charities. Like, amazing. Then all the trades that are helping out, obviously, it's great promo for them. And then, I mean, yeah, it's a great thing that you guys are doing for our industry too, because I think we've been looked at, just greedy salespeople that, maximized our proceeds and everything off of the rise in house prices that has happened pretty crazy over the last 5 years. But I mean, the truth is, we're real people. We,
Yeah.
often help serve in our communities, sit on boards with these non-for-profits, all that kind of stuff. When we have time to give back, we will. And I just love that you guys are spotlighting this. I think it's a great thing, and I'm sure it's being really well received.
Yeah, and obviously there's a downside if it doesn't work out. I don't see that happening, but I think the upside is pretty sweet, and in terms of something that other realtors like it's something you can really get behind, and it is a really cool story to be able to give back, you know, to the community
Yeah.
that you're in right now. Yeah, people do love it. Like there's been a good push. People are following along. There's lots of there's an Instagram page, YouTube, Facebook page, obviously for it, where we've been putting out a little bit of preliminary content and such. So yeah, you can follow along and see what's going on.
Cool. Now you said it's like HGTV in a sense, but I have a feeling it's not like HGTV at
Uh,
all. Like, so are they staging fights between all the realtors? Are they going to have, some Remax and Royal LePage and independent
uh,
companies show up and fight over the listing on the front lawn?
I had an
yeah.
idea where I wanted to have like a segment where like if there was one particular agent who was there and all he did was like eat lunch, then I wanted to
Yeah.
have like all the shots of him just eating. So like at the end we did the big reveal. Like there was like every time I came to him, he'd just be eating a piece of pizza or something, not actually doing any
Thanks for
work
your
or anything.
contribution. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's no, we'll try to keep it adult-like and professional, not razz anybody too hard.
Love
Yeah.
it. Cool.
Well, we'll see.
Maybe, yeah, we'll
Um,
see.
what do you think your guys' timeline is on that? When do you see it hitting the market? Realistically, like price range that you expect it to see in? How long do you expect it to sit on the market before it sells? I know those are kind of hopefuls, but you want to maybe speak to that a little bit?
Well, I'm going to assume Mike will listen to this, who's the boss, and I would say his thoughts on when it'll be on the market and the price points are probably a little different than what our what our thoughts are. I think the goal is to have it up in the spring, but we'll see. We'll see that there's lots of work that still needs to be done, and but that I think the goal is to have it up for the spring. And price point, we'll just have to see, you know, what the actual end product is, because there's a lot of ideas that are being put forth for the place that would make it really cool, and I think add some value. Um, But yeah, we'll see where it goes. I don't want to speak too much to the price points yet because I just don't know.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, cool.
Mark, anything to add to that?
No, no, I think that's right. Like, I mean, there's kind of like your base, if you're just doing it as a purely economical flip, of just a single person, you would finish it to this level. But again, because we have the ability of some generous donations and whatnot, maybe we can elevate that a bit. And does that result in a higher sale price? Probably. And so the whole time we've been very clear and upfront about, normal MLS process, open bid, highest bidder, no complications there. Because there is that kind of scrutiny too with the public, right? So you want to be sure
Definitely.
that everything is done above board.
Yep.
Highest price wins. So we're going to try for the best, which
Y-
then,
y-
that means the most amount of money to donate as well too. So it's a
Something
win-win.
I'll touch on. You mentioned earlier, Cody, the seller being on board with the flip. Well, it's kind of cool actually because Mike, when he got the place, like he had it all explained and signed what the intentions was before it was even firm and binding, right? So it was
Yep.
all very, and it was another real estate agent sold the property, not related to our brokerage whatsoever. It was on MLS, so it was all very, upfront and well done, I think. So I think certainly transparency is key, and it'll be. It'd be cool to get to the end. I think Century 21 Canada mentioned that they might, I don't know for sure, but I had heard they might donate some patio furniture or barbecue or something. I don't
Oh
know.
yeah, that's nice.
I had heard that.
Well, it's such
Cool.
a
And
cool idea too. Like it's a easily duplicated idea in any market. I mean, if somebody had it's probably more effort to organize things, and then the business itself kind of takes care of itself. But it'd be cool to see this picked up and copied and carried to different offices and different kind of areas around the country. Like if people wanted to try the same thing, we might do a second version. We might do a flip 2.0, find like a little beach cottage or something like that and do a reno. Or so, I mean, anybody can really do it, and that would be the coolest thing to see if offices started kind of trying to doing their own spin on it.
I
That'd be
think
pretty
you
cool.
guys are making it simpler, like sound simpler than it is. Because like the big elephant in the room still is someone's got to tie up $500,000 minimum, right?
yeah,
We got to secure the property, carry it until completion,
That's true. Yeah.
all that kind of stuff. So like, yeah, I'm
there's certainly
sure.
some risk. Like, if we can't, I know there's certain things we're gonna have to pay for along the way just because it just won't be feasible for a contractor to do that much. And um, I think it should be okay, obviously, if the market doesn't tank, but we'll see. But I think, Mark, you make a good point of, for the real estate industry there, like a lot of the focus, I think, for realtors has been to go to the brokerages, like the where there's some downline or certain stuff like that. And I think if you can be a part of a brokerage that's doing cool stuff like this for charity too, like it's definitely a really cool spin in terms of the marketing and advertising that you can do with something like this, right? So
Culture in the office too, the teamwork. Like,
exactly.
aren't you guys even doing like a lot of the demo work as some of the agents in the office
Yeah,
too?
yeah. Well, Mike did a full on, like, it was called demo day, so I think about 30 agents showed up, and we ripped out a bunch of the house, and he's trying to be conscientious with not getting rid of everything. He wants to donate stuff and sell stuff in a yard sale. I don't really know if people are going to want to buy the old trim.
Yeah.
A lot of it's super dated, so I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, there was a community, certainly a good feel amongst all the realtors within the brokerage.
Cool. Well, I can't wait to see how everything turns out. If people want to follow along the process, they just look up Century 21 in studio on Facebook, on YouTube. Like, where's the best place to stay updated on this?
Um, yeah, like the Century 21 in studio realty Facebook channel or Facebook page is one place to go, and then there's also an Instagram page called Flipped Gray Bruce. Um, I don't know if you kind of see it. It's hard to see the screen, obviously, but
Yeah. Cool.
you can kind of tell. So that's where you can go on Instagram. Then Mike has a YouTube, just the company YouTube channel.
Sure, we could
Uh,
share the link, say, in the
Definitely.
in the description or notes. Okay.
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Cool. Anything else you guys want to talk about? I mean, we talked about who you guys are, what your team is, the company that you work with, your area a little bit, who's moving in, who's employing people there, house values, what's going on in the market, and then obviously the flipped project. Anything else you want to touch on?
I don't know, Mark, can you kind
Your
of,
camera's a little fuzzy there, Tim.
yeah, I know it's because I put my phone
Focused
up
on
and
his
it
phone.
really,
Oh, drop the focus. I don't know. What do you think, Tim? Bank of Canada rate prediction for next year. What do you think?
well, we just did a little event up here with Ben Rabideau, and Ron O'Neill actually came out, and we geared the event towards financial advisors, accountants, lawyers, financial professionals, mortgage brokers, kind
Yep.
of like something you maybe like a lunch and learn, and we had it at one of the local conference centers, provided some lunch, and then we charged a small entrance fee and we gave it all back to the United Way. So it was pretty cool. And then, Ben was out. He did about a half hour, 40-minute sort of talk. And I think his feel was rates would actually be going down even further this year. Um, I really actually have no idea what rates are going to do. I've heard arguments both ways that if there's tariffs and counter tariffs, that they could go up if inflation comes back, or they could go down quite a bit more. So I honestly don't have an opinion on it. I would imagine that they would stay the same or go down a little bit. I know Ben was anticipating that the overnight rate would go down. I think closer to 2.5%.
I think you
I think
said
he's
two,
saying two. Yeah, the
Yeah,
markets
two
are pretty
basically.
much pricing in 2.5 right now. I think he's saying two.
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah. There'd
we'll
be
see.
he was predicting a cut every meeting pretty much for the year.
Yep. And then obviously we just had a election yesterday. So we're recording this today, February 28th. This will probably come out in about 2 weeks. We had a provincial election in Ontario yesterday, and Doug Ford government got a majority. It's their third election, so they got another 4 years now, unless they call another election in the meantime. And we got a federal election coming up soon too. I don't know if they actually put a date on that one yet or not, because we're prorogued at the moment, but be
That's right.
interesting. Be interesting to
That's
see how
right.
that takes place too. Cool. Well, appreciate your gentleman's time today, and thank you for sharing everything with us. Can't wait to pay attention to the flipped project and follow it along and see how much you guys are able to raise for charity. I just think it's an awesome thing all around. So thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Cody.
thank you, Cody. Appreciate you taking the time having us on.
Thanks for listening to the show, folks. Please keep in mind that this show is not offering legal, financial, or accounting advice, but rather opinions and experiences in the world of real estate from the host and the guests. If you're enjoying the show, please rate, review, and share with your friends and colleagues. And if you think that there's someone that needs to be on this show, please feel free to connect them with me. Or if there's a topic that should be discussed, feel free to let me know. Thank you so much, and bye for now.